Hey everybody, it's Angie here, and I'm gonna share this video to some groups before I get started, to my shadow work and ceremony group and my enlightened wellness group. How are you? I just wanted to come on and, well, say hi. I just got back into the country. I went to Mexico for a week, and it was a completely magical experience. I'm so glad that I did it, even and especially now during these times. It was a bid for power, and made it back safely, and I'm really grateful for that. So if you can say hello, please do. I want to, hey Joshua, thank you for popping on with me. Thank you for the love. Yeah, I'm kind of all dressed up with nowhere to go, so I thought I'd do a video. Actually, what I want to talk about is the fact that shadow work isn't so scary. You know, a lot of people, thank you. It's good to be back. It's really good to be back. But at the same time, I'm missing Mexico. I can't wait to go back there. Yeah, so well, before I dive in, I'll just say, it was such a magical experience. I got to hear the whales sing. I got to dive down under and hear the whales sing. I got to see whales with their calves. I got to see, oh my gosh, one night on the beach, bioluminescence. If you've never seen bioluminescence, put it on your bucket list. Intend to see it. It was just amazing. Every time the waves would crash, they would light up blue, electric blue, and you would step on the sand and it was like starburst under your feet. I'm telling you, I'm so glad I went. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, I feel like I'm glowing. I really do. I feel that glow in me. The land, the spirits of the land there, and the ocean, and the jungle. It was just so powerful, and I'm carrying that energy with me. And I took on some other new allies as well, and I feel very energized by all of that medicine that I got to encounter there. So beautiful. And I wanted to talk a bit about shadow work today, and just that it's not so scary. I mean, a lot of people avoid shadow work and avoid, maybe you don't call it shadow work, maybe you just call it sitting with your feelings, right? A lot of people avoid sitting with their feelings, avoid sitting with, traumatic memories, and, because it's overwhelming. If you don't know how to work with that energy, and remember, it's all energy, thoughts are just energy. They're limited energy that just wants to move through. If you don't know how to work with that energy, then yeah, it's going to overtake you. If you're afraid of your thoughts, they're going to overtake you. I liken it to diving into, getting out past the breakers. I had this amazing experience in Mexico. A couple of my friends, I went with a group who were all on the shamanic path together, and two of them were gracious enough to first let me watch them go out past the breakers, and then come back and get me and coach me out there, because the waves on the beach where we were in that little cove were intense. There was a steep drop off, and so the waves were just really big and robust, and I really wanted to have the experience of swimming out past the breakers and then diving down and hearing the whales sing. But I had to get past those waves, and so when you go out, you may have had this experience, if you've familiar with the ocean, You can't just get out there and then change your mind like when a wave is right there coming at you. You can't, if you're afraid of it and you decide to just run from it, turn, it's going to overtake you. You're going to get thrashed, right? So the way to move through it is to move through it. You have to dive in, you have to commit, and you have to dive down under the wave. And what happens is when you dive into it, when you go head first into it, what happens is you get sort of floated up to the on the other side of it, and it's easy peasy. But you have to commit, and you have to understand how to work with that energy, right? If you don't understand how to work with that energy and you get afraid, you become afraid and you become intimidated and you turn away from it, or you just let it take you instead of diving into it because you're afraid to do that, to go into it, then, you're going to get, kind of messed up. So I was able to do it, and with a little help from my friends, was able to, take those waves one at a time, get out there, hear the whales sing, and then coming back, same process. You've got to dive into it, even though you're going the opposite direction that you want to go. And then, eventually you just keep diving in and you keep moving closer and closer toward the shore, and then you're back. So with shadow work, it's the same thing. You really have to understand, the mechanics of how your experience is being created. You have to understand that these are just thoughts. You're only ever feeling your right now thinking. That there's actually more beyond this thought. That this thought is not all there is. It doesn't actually mean anything about you. And so if you will just welcome it into your experience as a limited energy that just wants to move through, if you're able to just love it, love yourself for feeling the way that you feel, and to welcome that energy into your experience, allow that thought, the belief, you're watching your experience of that thought now. You're no longer identified with it. As long as you're identified with a thought, and you think that's all there is, and you think that it means something about you, then you're going to be in resistance to it, and it's going to overwhelm you. But if you know what it is, right? If you know what you are, who and what you are, as the awareness that the thought's appearing to, and you can feel that it's safe to welcome it in, and just notice, welcome, allow the energy that gets stirred up in you when you allow this thought in, when you allow yourself to feel the way that you feel. Then what happens is, like magic, you come out into, a greater perspective. You're given a greater perspective, and you're able to see, you're able to come back into resonance with who and what you really are. And you have the greater perspective. You're no longer identified with this thought. And then a rewiring happens, an upgrade happens, in your brain, in your nervous system, in your being. And it's the most, it's the most beautiful experience we could hope for in this lifetime. And it's what we're here to learn how to do, and so that we can come into that space of pure bliss and enjoyment, and to come into a place of sovereignty over our experience. That's what shadow work is really all about. It's not scary. The only time it will be scary is if you forget that all you're working with here is limited energies, memory replaying that's not actually happening now. It doesn't actually mean anything about you. That's all that's ever happening. So when you come into a place of awareness of that, that's when you can move through anything. You get to transmute any traumatic memory. That's how we heal trauma. That's how we heal ancestral patterning, is actually, by being willing to be with it. But first you have to know how to work with that energy. You have to understand how your experience is created. You have to understand that it's all energy, and that you have the power to move through it, and that it's safe to welcome it. So you see, shadow work, not so scary, although it definitely helps to have someone hold the space for you, when engaging in shadow work and feeling your feelings, because it's really easy to get caught up in the thoughts that arise and the emotions and the sensations, and to become identified with them, and to then automatically go into resistance and get thrashed like a wave that you thought you were ready to dive into, but then you got scared and you turned away, or you just let it take you, right? You forgot how to work with the energy, and you forgot that you had the power to do so, right? So it's really not so scary, but I definitely recommend, if you're new to shadow work, to let somebody hold space for you, so that someone who can keep you out of distraction, that can keep you grounded in the present moment and grounded in the understanding of how your experience is being created. Having that space held for you is so valuable, and of course I do that work. I hold space for that, and so if I can support you, I would love to do that. I have a Heart Warrior intensive, one-on-one coaching intensive that I'm offering right now. I'll put the link in the comments. And it's similar to the work that I normally do. I do 6-month or more programs with people, and one-on-one work. And additionally, I'm going to have a little curriculum that I'm offering along with that. Really just a flow of giving you shamanic tools to help manage your energy, protect your energy, and direct energy. Some consciousness technologies that I'll be sharing with you to help support your inner work and your shadow work, and help you to come into your power over your own experience. And also, as a functional nutritionist, what I recognize in this work is that it's also important to do the work of healing our nervous system, and healing our adrenals. If you've experienced chronic stress, if you have unresolved trauma, most likely, that's taken a toll on your body, on your adrenals, on your nervous system. And so, as a functional nutritionist, I've done a lot of work with clients to help them recover, and I've done that self-healing work too. So offering that as a part of the Heart Warrior Intensive. If you would like support, this kind of highly individualized support in becoming all that you're here to be, and enjoying this life as the creator of your own experience, breaking the mold, and so that you can live fearlessly, then I would love to support you. So reach out to me, and like I said, I'll pop the link to the Heart Warrior Intensive in the comments. So hopefully this talk has helped you. Hopefully shadow work doesn't seem so scary to you anymore. And hopefully you have, more of an idea of what shadow work is really all about. Doing your inner work is all about, what healing ancestral patterning and healing trauma is all about. Really it all comes down to awareness, self-awareness. Awareness is curative. And of course, in that, unconditional love and radical acceptance. That's really what shadow work is about. And when you can love what's coming up for you, you're no longer identified with the thoughts. You're in a place of awareness, and that's what brings the healing. But sometimes we need a little help. We need to have space, unconditionally loving space held for us, so that we can learn how to hold that space for ourselves. And then, of course, when we learn how to hold that space for ourselves, we naturally begin to understand how to hold unconditionally loving, transformative space for others. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So it's an investment that has a huge return for you, that will just keep bringing you more and more joy and abundance and connection and freedom and fearlessness, into your experience. So, all right, I'll let you guys go now. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining me, and blessings. Reach out to me if I can be of support.